Welcome to Mystic Dragonfly Garden. Today in the garden we are saving a bush. Now this bush is a Kodiak Diervilla Red, and I had 3 of them planted along the corner, and when the hurricane happened and the trees, 11 Leland cypress trees, fell forward, it crushed the 2 Kodiak Diervillas that I had there. Those trees have been moved. They have that whole area has been cleaned up. But I noticed the other day when I was down there that this bush was still alive, still living, although it was sideways and laying under a bunch of mud and debris from all those trees. So I want you to take a look at this bush. It was every bit of probably 4 feet tall. It was a full-grown plant, and it was laying, let's see, it was laying this way in the ground on the bank. And as you can see, it's got some really nice growth on it, and it's got a pretty significant root system here. So I'm going to pot this plant up with some really good See and Farm from Daddy Pete's and some biotone, and hopefully it will end up with a good root ball and we can plant it back in the garden. I'm also going to cut it back so that it really has a chance to work on its roots and not so much on too much foliage while it's trying to recover from the disaster. But I thought I had lost everything, and obviously I didn't. The only thing I really lost was its partner in crime. That I'm not even sure where that Kodiak Diervilla Red ended up, because unless it's just buried underneath all that dirt. So let's get this guy potted up. I've got this is about a 3-gallon, I think. Yep, a 3-gallon pot. And I'm going to fill the bottom with this See and Farm Daddy Pete's. So really rich soil so that these roots have a chance to grow and develop. Let's get some of this in here. And then of course we want to give it a good start, so we're going to add this biotone starter fertilizer. This is an Espoma product and something you can pick up at just about any garden center or box store that sells gardening items. So let's mix this up. Okay, and now, as you can see, I mean, it's a lot of bare roots, so we're going to stick this down in there and get these roots down in the pot. There's a lot of leaves and pine needles from when those trees were pushed over and cleaned up. Okay, now we've got all those roots in there. Now we're going to pack in the soil around these roots that are kind of loosely hanging out off the root ball. It's really important to really find those cracks and crevices amongst all the roots and really pack that soil in so the roots can make contact, absorb the water, absorb fertilizer. Now I know this is a proven winner's plant, and they improved on this bush. So now if you're looking for a Kodiak Diervilla Red, it's actually called a Kodiak Diervilla Red 2, just because it's a new and improved version. I'm not 100% sure what the difference is. I don't know that I ever read up on what was improved from this version to version 2. I do know that it is a deciduous shrub, and it is a pretty dark green in the summer, and then in the winter the leaves turn like a burnt red color. It's a very pretty bush. All right, I gotta get this corner. This ball wasn't exactly straight, so I'm trying to make it straight in the pot. I really gotta tuck some dirt down under here. That hurricane happened back in September, so it's been laying on its side for what, 6 months, 7 months now. So it's a little crooked. So we gotta pack it in here and try to bring it upright. And then once we set it back in the sun, these branches will straighten out and start reaching up instead of sideways. That is pretty nice and packed in there. We need a little bit more on this side. These thicker nursery pots, actually I've got 2 in here. They work well as scoops for scooping out your potting soil. Okay, I think that is good enough. Once I water it in, I may come back and add a little bit more. And now what we're going to do is we're going to cut off what is dead. So this branch is completely dead, and I'm going to go all the way down to the base and cut it off. Some of these ones that were laying on the ground on the back side, or what I'm calling the back side because it was on the ground, we're going to cut those all the way back. There is some new growth popping out. Let me Let me bring you over here and show you that. This limb right here, you can see there's new growth popping out down here. But as you travel up the limb, there's a few pieces of new growth. But as you come up all the way to the top, it looks like it's a goner. So we'll probably bring it back to about here. And same for some of these other limbs that were against the ground. There's a new growth down here. And as it comes up, there's still some. But then as you go up towards the top, there it is dead. So we're going to get rid of those dead branches and leave what still has growth coming out of it. All right, back to what we were doing. I'm going to cut off these little side branches, and I'm going to cut this right above where these leaves are coming out. That's pretty much all dead. And I'm going to cut off this side branch because it's kind of way out here and going rogue. And here's a little bit of growth there, so we'll cut right above that. This one's dead. And coming in here, another side branch, cutting out all the little branches that are not real good strong branches. We're just going to cut them off so the main stems can grow and develop. It's funny how some of these branches are completely growing at a 90-degree angle. Let me show you this. Notice how this branch comes up and then makes like a 90-degree angle here because of how it was positioned in the ground. This is one tough plant. Okay, back to making some more decisions about where to trim this bush. There's one on the back side. It was dead, so I cut it all the way back at the base. Here's some these longer branches that are, the leaves have made an appearance, but I'm cutting them back because they're long and lanky, and we want this plant to worry about some roots, not leaves. So we'll leave some leaves, of course, but we're going to let it worry about roots. Let's see, we got to get this 90-degree bend out of there. You can see it real good here. See how that was bent almost at 90. Growing sideways. Okay, now let's take off all of this. Looks like it's, well, it's not all dead. So we'll cut it right there where that leaf has made an appearance. Here's another stem that had a funky angle on it. And these were obviously leaning up towards the sun, so we'll cut these back. And we're cutting them right above a leaf node. Most of them. Here's some smaller branches in here. We're going to cut those off. Alrighty. It looks a little wilted since I probably in shock from growing sideways, and then I dug it up out of the ground, and now this new growth is wilting because in shock from being dug up out of the ground. So we'll just cut a lot of this off, except for what is right next to the stems, and let it start all over again, so it's not too stressed trying to support this leaf structure, and it can worry about its roots. Some more down here. All right. I believe, let's see, let's get this one. One more. All right. As tough as this plant is, I think we can safely look forward to its recovery and being able to plant it back in the landscape. So here we go. Here is our finished plant. It's got a little bit of green on it, and we've got the main stems all growing in an upward direction. So there you go. There is our Save the Plant, Rescue the Plant episode for this Kodiak Diervilla Red. Thank you for watching. I hope you are finding time out in your garden and getting some things done, and maybe rescuing some plants as well, either from a store or maybe from somewhere in your yard where they just are not doing well and it's time for a move. For the love of dirt, get outside, enjoy what nature has to offer. Until next time.